Right now we're on to our second exercise in our chapter 0 homework 1. And in this problem, we're going to look at a number of different uh, types of businesses here. And our task will be to classify each business as primarily a service business, merchandiser, or manufacturer. Now, this is information you will have touched on in earlier classes, and it's also relatively important or meaningful for managerial accounting. Um, as I mentioned in our lecture video, etc., that's a big focus of this course, especially in the first few chapters where we're doing cost accounting for manufacturing companies. So it does help to have some examples of what exactly that means and what types of businesses would actually fall under that umbrella. So let's get started. Okay, so the first business that we're going to be considering would be an accounting firm. And so again, really, you could think of some instances where these businesses might have multiple types of things. Maybe they provide services, also sell products or something. But we're just going to list, as one type. So primarily, if you're an accounting firm, you are providing accounting services, right? You're not selling products. We're going to say service business. And again, maybe you do sell some products or something. There's definitely overlap. It's not that a business can only fall in one category, but just as a primary differentiation, accounting firms provide services, right? We help companies prepare financial statements. We help them file their tax returns. We help them with all sorts of things, right? If you work for an accounting firm, I used to work for an accounting firm, we would provide them with financial statement audits to basically validate their financial statements so that they could go out, that company could either go out and obtain a loan, they could meet compliance requirements, they can meet compliance requirements with a loan they already have. That's a very common one, so on and so forth. We would do audits of government entities that just had a general requirement to have an annual audit to ensure that they are, keeping their accounting records accurately, etc. So anyway, okay, that's a little detail on accounting firms, just because it's obviously something that's near and dear to my heart and what we're doing here in our accounting classes. But let's move on. Okay, so Best Buy. Best Buy is an electronics manufacturer. No, I shouldn't say manufacturer. They're a Best Buy merchandiser. They are a retailer, right? Primarily, you go into Best Buy, and Best Buy has, whatever iPhones and TVs and all the rest of it, right? They are a merchandiser. They have purchased those products. Merchandiser. Merchandiser. So they've purchased. Merchandiser. They've purchased those products from a manufacturer, but they are reselling them to you. Again, like I mentioned, kind of that idea of a middleman, so you go there when you want to find where's an iPhone. Oh, they have an iPhone there. They have a TV there. So you can get all those products in one place. Retailer is another word that's commonly used. Again, maybe some of you guys have worked at Best Buy. So they are a merchandising business. A furniture factory. So here, especially with the inclusion of the word factory, this is going to be a manufacturer. Manufacturer. That looks weird when I manufacturer. Yeah, I think I spelled that right. Excel. That's one thing with the Microsoft Excel. It's not always the best at telling you if you spelled a word wrong. One trick that I'll just show you if you ever want to do this when you're typing through, you can hit F7 and it will do a spell check. And that's always a good idea if you're doing something that has a lot of text in it, because it's not like a Microsoft Word document that has like the red underline when you spell something wrong. So just FYI. But anyway, the furniture factory is making furniture. They are a manufacturer. Maybe they end up selling that furniture to a merchandiser, and you'd go buy that from the merchandiser. But they are a manufacturer because they're manufacturing furniture. Okay, hair salon. Again, this is a classic example of a business that would actually probably sell some products as well, but primarily a hair salon is going to be a service business. They're providing you with the service of haircuts and all the rest of the things that you can get done at a hair salon. But yes, very much a good example of something, because I know a lot of hair salons sell different hair product, etc. So in some ways they are a merchandiser. They do sell some merchandise, but primarily speaking, I think most hair salons' core business, as being a salon, is to provide salon services, essentially. Okay, local sporting goods store. So that's going to be a merchandiser again, kind of similar to like a Best Buy, different products, but they're selling merchandise. Aircraft manufacturer. So it's kind of in the name there, manufacturer. We are making airplanes in this instance, and so we are, going to have to do that cost accounting and all the stuff we're going to talk about soon. Auto repair shop. Again, this is definitely one that falls overlapping categories. We're gonna classify them as a service business primarily. But basically, anytime you go into an auto repair shop, unless you're just having some sort of, I guess, routine maintenance done, but at least if you're having a part replaced, they're gonna have to order that part and kind of sell it to you that way. But they're primarily doing the repairs, so the repair services. But as you can see, a lot of times with these businesses, it's not just as clear cut as they only do service or they only provide merchandise. Because I think you make that argument maybe for Best Buy too. I know they had some, I forget what it's called, the Geek Squad or something like that. So definitely, merchandising businesses do provide some services. Maybe they have, that is like electronics repair services. I think Best Buy has a stereo installation maybe, or things like that. So again, a lot of overlap. Except when you get in manufacturers, typically speaking, manufacturers, and I'm not saying this is always the case, but manufacturers usually do. It is such a complex activity that primarily, you're just manufacturing stuff and not having services provided or buying merchandise from other companies and then reselling it, that kind of thing. So, okay, a bookstore, a merchandiser, that's they bought the books from a supplier or a publisher. Publishing books would be similar to another way to say manufacturing something, essentially, I think. And finally, potato chip factory, again with the the word factory in there. We are manufacturing potato chips. Kind of a weird way to say that, but we're producing potato chips, starting with those raw materials of potatoes, and oil and salt, flavorings, and all the rest of that. And then that's going to be your raw materials. You're gonna they chop them up, whatever potato chip company factories do. Cut the potatoes up, do the cooking and the seasoning. And at some point through that process, you got work in process. It's kind of in its intermediate stage. Then it gets packaged, and finally, when it's in the bag, ready and can be sent out to the grocery store, it's going to be a finished good. So again, a manufacturer. So as we've seen in this example, manufacturing really does kind of cross a lot of interesting categories as well. It's not one set thing. Obviously, in our world, there's lots of how things are made is pretty interesting and so varied. Of course, we can be up, and what's cool is in the concepts that we will cover in this class, it can be applied to a potato chip factory. It can be applied to an aircraft manufacturer or a furniture factory. So I think that's kind of an interesting part of this class, is that we're going to learn these techniques and methodologies that can be applied very broadly, just kind of the same way that accounting is very broad. You'd find accountants in every type of these businesses at all different levels. So that sort of highlights maybe, accounting is interesting. You can go in a lot of pathways, lots of job opportunity. You're not pigeonholed into one type of business, one industry, like I talked about earlier, government. Aircraft manufacturing is probably a very different type of workplace maybe than a potato chip company or things of that nature. So kind of cool. That's one thing I really like about accounting, especially when I'm teaching it for students, to see that there's just a whole plethora of industries and job opportunities out there, kind of limitless. So, all right, well, that wraps up exercise number 2. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video for exercise number 3.